Oh.
Fantastic.
What's going
Hello,
on?
ladies and gentlemen, once again to the pre-game show of Money Match Fridays here at Minnesota Tekken. I am one of your many hosts, Hamalak, man who's always going ham. I'm joined today by the lovely crew, as always. I have Chad, wherever he is on the screen. I have Tato. I also have Weasel. Guys, how are we doing today?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself? I suppose you already said it. Well, yeah. Doing pretty good over here.
I'm doing fine.
Getting excited for these matches we got coming up. A bunch of...
it's gonna be a bloodbath.
Oh yeah, a bunch of new names. That's the best part. Tato, how do you feel? Feeling nervous?
Very nervous, so scared. A little excited, a little nervous, but curious. Curious mostly.
Oh yeah. You never know what'll happen when we bring all these weirdos into the scene from other scenes. It's the best.
Grand experiment.
The melting pot.
Oh yeah.
Chad, what are your thoughts so far? We got all these new guys coming in. I know you got the analytics. You got everything set and ready to go. Let us know what you got for us today.
All right, we switching over to player analysis.
Yep. I have Pyramid Builder versus Sam.
All right. So this is going to be a really fun match. I think specifically it's going to be a really fun match. Knowing the fact that I know Pyramid Builder personally, played a lot of games with Pyramid Builder, I think this is going to be a really awesome test for him. But let's actually start with Sam. What do we know about Sam? We know we don't know much about Sam. We'll start off right there. But let's talk about what we do know about him. So first of all, we know he's a Colorado player with an outstanding reputation for being a very, very skilled Tekken player. We know he plays Anna, and we know that he is at least somewhere in the realm of Marks' skill level. So, had an opportunity to talk with Sam a little bit. He told me a little bit about his strengths and some of the areas that he wants to seek improvement on, and I'll tell you what, this dude was cryptic. Sounded like he almost wanted to hide the ball a little bit, which I kind of loved. I couldn't help but respect it a little bit, knowing he's going to go into this Money Match Friday against a player like Marks. So what are his claimed strengths? First of all, he claims that he has a good grip of ults. He is an Anna main, but he says he's got a fairly good grip of tournament-ready characters. So we'll see if that creates a big difference. He implied that he has really great adaptability, that he can change his strategy on the fly, which I think against a player like Marks and all of the characters that Marks plays is going to be really big. And then he also, hints at some serious audacity going into some of these matches, and I absolutely believe it, considering that his main is none other than Anna Williams. So what does he say that he needs to work on? He comes up with these 3 things that I'm not sure I can kind of believe him. He says he wants to work on his I know. Says he wants to work on his fundamentals. He says he wants to work on his punishment, and says he wants to work on his movement. Sorry, Sam. Not sure I believe that those things are things that you really need to improve on, considering your reputation. But we'll see how it all goes. But as Bert said, yeah, that's what everybody says they want to work on, right? They want their fundamentals to be better. They want to do optimal punishment all the time, and they want to get better movement. All right, so let's talk about Marks. Let's talk about this guy. All right, great reputation.
Cheater. This guy is so good though.
Great reputation in Minnesota Tekken as one of our best players. Biggest strength for Marks, dude plays a complete game. He has no really big areas that he is weak in. And on top of that, on top of having a complete game, he has a very diverse number of alternate characters that he can bring into a tournament. Primarily, his main is Master Raven. In my opinion, probably his best character. Plays an infuriating Maven. Plays a really good Dragunov as well, who he has developed quite a bit in Season 4 of all times to develop a Dragunov. And then I've played his Gigas a few times, and he actually has a tournament-ready Gigas. I think he uses it to Gigas to style a little bit more than he uses to play seriously in a tournament, but it's got to be known that he has a pretty decent Gigas back there. And beyond just those 3 characters, there are some other characters that I'm confident that Marks could bring out in a tournament and be very, very comfortable with. So let's talk about where he's a little bit weak. So one thing to understand about Marks is Tekken 7 is his first Tekken game that he's taken at all seriously. So that said, if he can only say he has 4 seasons of experience in Tekken 7, you got to consider that there's a little bit of competitive inexperience there when it comes to just the scope of Tekken. Having played Marks a little bit and seeing him in different FT10s and different competitions, it's not easy to do, but he can be tilted. He can wear his emotions a little bit on his sleeves, and when things don't go his way, he can be tilted a little bit. And then finally, I just got to put it out there that 2D might be an Achilles heel for Marks. I have seen him in some competitive settings, specifically in FT10 against a really good Geese player. A 2D character was one thing that I think Marks had a little bit of difficulty adapting to. But I just want to leave the last big strength and talk about Marks on a really high end. Marks' biggest strength is that really nobody in the community outworks Marks. The dude spends more time in the lab than anybody else I know. He takes matchups very seriously. He learns things, he learns matchups, and yeah, like I said, nobody outworks Marks. He has an absolute blue-collar, lunch-pail attitude when it comes to learning about this game. So that's my perspective on Pyramid Builder and Sam. I think one of the big things in the perspective of Marks is we're going to see how Marks reacts to playing a long set with somebody he knows little to nothing about.
It'll be a true sort of tournament mindset, you know. You walk
Absolutely.
Up, you come out from a different region, and you're playing against somebody like some local killer, and you have no idea who it is.
Oh, for sure.
That'll definitely be something we'll see here in this matchup. You know, this will be his second Anna that he's fought too in Money Match Friday. So he definitely, hopefully, knows the matchup. So that shouldn't be too much of a worry for him. We'll just see if he knows the. We'll see if he can figure out the personal matchup very quickly. And then, you know, Sam coming in, he has no idea who Marks is probably. And Marks plays Maven of all characters. Like, he has a Dragunov, but his core is at Maven. And I feel like that's always in his back pocket, you know, as far as character or character knowledge. Maven doesn't get around very often. So we'll see if Sam knows that. Maybe they do. You know, Roy is a very avid Colorado Tekken player. He's a Maven player. So maybe
switched from
Sam's
King,
played him.
from what I remember.
Yeah.
And one thing about Marks, one thing I do know about Marks is he is an absolutely awesome anti-rushdown player, especially with that Maven. You know, me as a Horong player, I can absolutely attest to. He's one of the most infuriating players to try and rush down. So that might be a consideration when it comes to the Maven versus Anna matchup.
He knows where the holes are, and he has that new. I think Maven and Dragunov both have I-10 counter strengths to get rush down players off of them. There's like not really a panic move, but if you can surgically place it in the right spot, then it can definitely turn the tide back in your favor, get you away from the wall at least.
Marks places those well, has those confirms on deck.
We got next. Where are you going? Tip?
So let's turn it down to our next matchup. Let's analyze the players for our next matchup. So this is going to be Phantom Jack versus Loco Makoto. Again, two very, very highly skilled players. So let's take a look at Phantom Jack first. MNT player, absolutely one of our best. Biggest strength for Phantom Jack. Kid has ice water in his veins. There is no rattling Anthony. That dude is playing at a 60 beats per minute from round one all the way to double Luigi. It doesn't matter where in the set or the match they are. Absolutely, completely cold, calculated player. Easily his biggest strength. With the Kazuya player, great execution. Does the Pew gifts like they're nothing. Very rarely, once in a very blue moon, you'll see him miss on a Pew gift. And it's so rare, it's one of those things where you notice when he misses a lot more than when he hits a really, really high execution type of combo.
It's almost a sigh of relief when you're playing against him.
Absolutely.
He hits the counter down forward 2 and then misses it, and it's like you just.
Oh my god,
he dropped it. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, he missed.
Yeah.
He missed. Press buttons.
I'll never forget the time. Like, it was at Plus on Block. It was a couple years ago. Like, we were all chilling. We were playing. And here comes Phantom Jack. Nobody knows who this kid is. He comes in, beats up everybody. Literally, ice, like you were saying, Chad, cold as ice. Comes in, beats everybody up, goes to grand finals without a tremor, without like freaking out. He's like, whew, we're good. We're in grand finals. I'm going to take this home quick, 3-0. I'm leaving. Done. That was it.
Yeah.
It was
Drop
wild.
the mic. I'm out.
He took MN Tekken from its roots and ripped it up and just turned it upside down. Yeah.
We all learned the name Phantom Jack really, really quick.
Very fast. He is absolutely mental. And here's the thing, he didn't even play his main the whole tournament.
Oh,
Played
yeah.
Brian. He played Brian the whole time.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
You know, it's not as good as Kazuya, but he puts the grind in with Brian, I think.
That's true.
He does. He absolutely does. You know, and I think that brings it to the third strength for Phantom Jack that is very, very notable, especially for a competitive setting like this. The dude's game plan management is always solid. You see him in brackets, you see him in FT10s. When it comes to his character selection, his stage selection, it is always very, very deliberate, and it almost always works out for the guy. So I think in something a long FT10 session against a guy like Locomokoto, a player that I don't think Phantom Jack knows very well, I think that's going to be something that is going to be deep into consideration for his own success moving forward. So weaknesses for Phantom Jack. He does have some knowledge holes. There are some characters and there are some situations he doesn't quite understand, and I think a lot of that is because he puts so much focus on two of these extremely complicated characters to play, Kazuya and Brian. You know, of course, Kazuya, you know, the game plan with Kazuya is really, really simple. There's not a whole lot of ways to modify Kazuya's game plan, but he just takes so much time to get that execution down, to make sure you're ready for those specific situations for Kazuya. And of course, Brian, just one of the more complex but high potential characters on the roster. And even as Steve, he does have a competition ready Steve. I'm not sure how optimistic he is about using Steve in Season 4. But yeah, just the fact that he's using those three characters that take quite a bit of practice to get as good with him, it does lead to just his inevitable weakness that he just has some knowledge holes when it comes to certain matchups. He does have a tendency to fall into some defensive patterns, especially with his Kazuya. You know, he gets so templated with his reactions, how he wants to react in certain situations, that he does tend to flowchart his defense a little bit. But I think on the other side of that, he does adapt to those things pretty well. And then finally, as we just talked about, he plays some very typical character styles, specifically to his Kazuya, and I think it's almost like he's a little bit deadlocked into that character, since there's not a whole lot of different ways you can use Kazuya. He's just a really, really templated character. But let's take a look at the flip side. Let's talk about Locomokoto. I've been able to play this guy recently. I've seen him in some lobbies, been able to watch some of his gameplay, and let me tell you, this guy, where this guy shines, is the intangibles of Tekken. Something you might expect with somebody who plays Eliza. But the biggest thing that I think Locomokoto has that needs to absolutely be respected, and is something that's really, really hard to do for a lot of players, is this dude absolutely dominates pace. He controls the pace of a match. He can go from being completely aggressive, absolutely oppressive, to just moving towards a total counter hit mindset. And having played him, having watched him, having talked to this about him a little bit, when you watch him in game, it's readily apparent. He is choosing when he wants to be defensive, and he is choosing when he wants to be aggressive, and when he makes that choice, the pace of the game really shifts. That's something that I think is extremely admirable. It's extremely rare, and I think is his biggest strength going into this match. Also with an Eliza player, he is a mental frame wizard, especially when he's getting really aggressive. He is awesome at just doing setups to making the opponents think, hesitate, wonder if he's going to throw something out, and just do their sit still completely in the neutral or holding back. It's definitely an art form. And then finally, what you would absolutely expect with an Eliza player, very innovative, especially on Oki. Getting up against his Eliza is a test in patience. For a guy like Phantom Jack, I think it's really going to test those ice water veins. But for his weaknesses, where's Locomokoto a little bit weak? He claims that he has some issues with adaptability, and that's something that he wants to focus on for this matchup, and I think that might give Phantom Jack a little bit of a particular edge with the amount of characters that Phantom Jack can bring into this matchup. He can get a little bit overly aggressive, subject himself to some counter hits, especially when he's feeling himself, but I think that's another weakness that comes with just using his particular character. And then finally, big consideration, says he is solely an Eliza main. I have not seen him play any other characters, and I think that might be important against a guy like Phantom Jack.
Interesting.
100% agree, yeah.
Taylor, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
I don't like to think, but man, only Eliza? Are you crazy? That's like putting your life savings in crypto. I mean, that's such a gamble with the way that character gets changed. And you know, God forbid Tekken 8, but we won't go there. As for Tech, I think both those matchups are interesting. One of them is one I don't know if I've ever seen, and the other one is one I feel like I've seen a lot around, you know, our region. Anna versus Dragunov, it's pretty common. I'm going to bet, for all intents and purposes, Marcus is going to play Dragunov. That's the character he's been playing the most lately, and all the recent, you know, my match writers, we've seen him play Dragunov. I don't think Maven is going to come out, so I won't consider her here, but I could be proven wrong. We'll see. As for Sam and Anna, curious to see another Anna. I didn't know there were so many Anna players, but
Where are they coming from?
They're about 1,000 strong.
they're all coming here. I don't know what it is about Minnesota that attracts the Annas, but it'll be a cool matchup. It's especially a matchup I'm looking forward to seeing because I think that the recent changes in the latest patch will have an effect. If, you know, mind you, neither of these characters had huge changes, but I think that this is a place where the changes on paper could make a difference. We'll see that. I'll get into that later. But for instance, actually, no, I'll get into this right now. Let's talk about Anna. What does Anna like to do? She likes to be crouching, right? She loves to be crouching so she can either enforce her full crouch mix-up on you, or even if she's minus, she has her full crouch power crush, which is pretty rare. Only the Williams sisters have power crushes from full crouch as far as I'm aware. So that's pretty useful. And guess whose main low just got changed to suddenly force crouch on hit? Dragunov.
Oh, that's right.
Everyone's talking about that like it's a buff, but you know what matchup where I don't think that's a buff? This one. You know, being at neutral frames against Anna, both of you in crouch, I don't know about you, but I'd rather Anna be standing, personally. Just me. So it's something to think about. Also, down one, you know, this is something that we saw Marks use a ton versus in his money match versus Juza, and Juza just didn't know what to do. But I think that, you know, as Anna, being -1 forced into crouch isn't really that bad, per se. You have a lot of options. You know, the mental frame advantage from you know, your full crouch forward 2 power crush definitely helps. I don't know, we'll see how much Sam is willing to pull that out, but that could be useful. I think that, you know, I've seen Marks and Dragunov players in general love to use those moves that force crouch, so that might be something to reconsider in this case. I don't know if that would be a good strategy. Might have to change up the moveset used. But you know, it could be pretty effective in comparison against Anna. I said down 2 wouldn't be that great, you know, because on hit, yeah, it's going to force crouch, but on block, it's only -13. Anna has infamously maybe the worst punishment in the game. It's terrible. It's so bad in a lot of ways. I think Dragunov is a character who can exploit that. You know, Anna's punishment especially is bad in the 13 to 15 frame range from crouching. And, you know, she can mix you up, yeah, once she's in crouch, but she's not going to have a great punish. I kind of expect that, you know, as a Dragunov player, if your down 2 gets blocked, you should occasionally just crouch, because you know they're probably not going to try to punish you, because Anna's 13 frame while staying Punisher, while staying 1-2 is pretty wimpy. As far as they come, it's really bad. It's not that good. In my opinion, it's pretty low frame advantage, low damage. You know, she doesn't get a cast judgment mix-up like she gets from all staying 3. It's not great. Also, Dragunov has Quarter Circle forward 3, which is a really good round-ending low. Of course, it's minus on hit, but if it kills, that doesn't matter. And that's -15, but in a matchup like this where Anna has, again, no 15-frame launcher, that's the, you know, you really have to be afraid as Anna. If you're in Quarter Circle forward 3 kill range, like, you cannot. That could come from anywhere at any time, and, you know, it's not that risky. So, something to consider, for sure. I think. It could make a difference, and his bad punishment from crouching if her mix-up game is good. One last thing I'd like to mention is that, and Mark specifically is very good with his movement, very good at stopping rushdown, evading. He's very, very clean defense. And Dragunov in general, I'd say, pretty good at just playing that fundamental game, moving around with punishing. Sidestep down 4-2 is the classic, all good Dragunov players employ it to some extent. And Anna is a notably linear character. She has pretty bad, tracking. Her whole full crush mix-up can be beaten by sidewalk left if you, do it right. And one of Anna's best homing moves, forward 2, was extremely bugged. It had this really prevalent issue where the hitbox would just completely phase through people. Standing, moving around, doesn't matter. It would just whiff when it really shouldn't. It's a bug they introduced in the Season 4 patch. A lot of Anna players were very frustrated with it, but that just got fixed. They just fixed that. That's not an issue anymore. So suddenly Anna has a new, that's a beefy move. You get a lot of damage on hit. It's plus on block. It's a scary homing move, even if it's high. I think that, as a Dragunov player, I wonder if we'll start seeing more stuff like sidestep down 2, sidestep high crush, so that you don't have to worry about homing highs shutting you down. Anyways, those are my thoughts on, I would say top 3, just things on my mind, tech-wise, about the matchup for Anna versus Dragunov. As for our other matchup, we're probably going to be seeing Eliza versus Kazuya. Could be Brian, but I'll go with Kazuya. It's, Phantom Jack's, I'd say, main character. We'd all agree, right? This is a weird one. I think the weirdness really comes from Eliza. Eliza is so unorthodox. Kazuya is pretty, very classic Tekken in a lot of ways. I mean, yeah, he's got his own unique stuff, but Eliza breaks the rules. What do I mean by that? Kazuya loves to force a 50-50 mix-up on you, right? That's his whole thing. Strong mix-up game, wants to pressure you, lock you into place so you have to guess. But Eliza doesn't have to guess. She has a DP. She can just go, no, fuck your mix-up. I'm a DP here. And we mentioned Phantom Jack, maybe lacks some matchup knowledge because he's done so much work into just honing his characters. I wonder if he'll be ready to tailor his, offensive strategy around that. And not just that, DP isn't where it ends. Eliza also can jump and, unlike other 2D characters, her jump back is a really good defensive option in and of itself due to EX dive kick. You can just kind of jump back and then, whiff punish midair with EX dive kick. It's a really powerful tool in that regard and just not that unsafe to do in general. So controlling space and being ready to capitalize on floats is something we might need to be seeing more. With less emphasis on immediate 50-50 mix-ups, because if you go for that, chunky forward 3 mid as Kazuya and you land an airborne hit, you're not getting anything. If you knock her out midair, you're not getting a float off that. You're just spiking her, and that's it. Yeah, you get some more Oki, but that's nothing. If the other characters who might poke with, say, a down forward 1 don't have to worry about situations where you're hitting people airborne because you're not getting floats, or you are getting floats and you can convert off that. So it's something to think about. Maybe more low risk pressure, low committal. Second point I want to bring up is pretty short. Eliza loves walls. She needs walls. Doesn't work without walls, in my opinion. I mean, she really needs them, especially for her down 3, mix, clean hit, get him at the wall. Her wall carry is notably amazing. It's not like Kazuya's is any slouch, but I would say Eliza's is better overall. And infinite stages, she suffers. I think if Phantom Jack knows the matchup at all, we're going to be seeing infinite stages whenever he can. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I would, personally, at least, for what it's worth. I'm not the Kazuya man, so just my take. One last thing. Kazuya, big issue of his is that he lacks, a classic 13 frame mid down forward 1 poke, a fast mid to keep people in check, prevent high crush moves. So I think that element of his, design and that character flaw is inversely proportional to how good your opponent's fast high crush moves are, You need a fast mid to shut down fast high crushes and ducking. And Eliza has some pretty good, pretty quick high crushes. Down 4 and down jab, are both pretty strong, I'd say. Yeah, down 4, it's launch punishable, but it's an unseeable low that high crushes. Down jab, yeah, it got nerfed, no more crazy counter hit stuff, but like still, you still get good pressure, you have a lot of options. There still are some things she can get. And I think that, in a lot of like poking minus frame situations where Eliza doesn't have that much advantage, being able to flowchart into down jab is something that she can take advantage that Kazuya might struggle with, especially like if you do stuff like sidestep electric, and you're trying to whiff punish, these moves all recover in crouch, what are you going to do? I think that it's going to take some adjustment maybe from the Kazuya player to deal with these high crushes, but again, we'll see.
We might see a lot more down forward 4, Kazuya, or even Mustang 4. I know Anthony likes to poke with those already, but
loves it.
Especially in this matchup, he would be bringing them out even more than we normally see if he makes the adaptation.
Yeah.
And with that in, we will move to predictions for the match. So right now I have up Chad's predictions. Do you want to go ahead and explain how you feel about these?
Yeah, so, Pyramid versus Sam. Can't make an educated guess. Just don't know enough about Sam. Haven't seen enough of his gameplay. Just kind of a big mystery there. All I can do is gamble. Based on what I know with Marks, with Pyramid Builder, this is going to be a totally one-sided guess, but I just know that his Maven has a very strong tendency to nullify rushdown characters against a player like Ana, but we don't know what else Sam has in his back pocket. But just based on that knowledge alone, I also know that Pyramid Builder also studies his matchups, and like I said, nobody outworks the guy, so I'm just going to have to go 10-7 Pyramid Builder. So for Phantom Jack versus Loco Makoto, I think we're going to see some really good Tekken. I think it's going to be the classic matchup of a Kazuya main and a Brian main who just plays straight up Tekken versus somebody who's absolutely crazy and just loves to break all the rules in Loco Makoto. I think Phantom Jack's going to hide his Kaz. I think he's going to want to stick with Brian for a very good portion of the start of the set. I think he's going to want some of Brian's tools in this matchup, especially when it comes to that rushdown type of Eliza. But I do think Loco Makoto takes the early lead, just kind of takes Phantom Jack by surprise with a lot of his pace control, with a lot of his crazy rushdown tactics. And I think it eventually edges out the straight Tekken. I think it goes 10-9 Loco Makoto, and I think there's going to be a demand for a run back match, and Loco Makoto versus Phantom Jack 2.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Fixing the run back.
Yeah, I agree for the most part with your Phantom Jack versus Makoto matchup. I think Makoto's just a fucking nut, and I think it's finally that'll be the one to make Phantom Jack really sit down and look at some matchups that he might not have before. As far as Pyramid Builder and Sam goes, I hope Sam is the greatest Ana player in existence and just runs the gauntlet with Marks, turns him red of all things. And then that'll even set up further because they might play again next weekend. Everybody's out in Colorado, so
Be good stuff.
yeah,
Oh god, I'm so excited.
some more blood going.
Okay.
What do you think, Tato, about the
I'm sick. I don't want to see another Marks versus Ana bloodbath. I'm sorry, Marks. I love you, man, but Sam, kick his ass, please. I need revenge, bro. I'm not satisfied with that last match. I want to go down like that. The Anas need to rise up. I mean, I think, Dragunov is the better character, and Maven also, got a lot of picks, but I'm going to say, screw it. It's out of sheer RNG. The dice is going to roll in Ana's favor. Fuck it, why not? But not by a lot. Maybe, let's say 10-9 in favor of Sam.
Ooh,
Cam, don't tell me I'm the only one who believes in our boy Marks.
After what I saw last time when it came to Marks between Pyramid Builder and Phantom Jack, I saw a quick like 10-1. I lost hope. I lost hope immediately. I saw him get absolutely clobbered. And you know what? I believe in Pyramid Builder because he has the knowledge. He's got the fundamentals. He's got the setups. He's got the Maven teleporty blah blah blah. You know, over there. Next thing you know, he's at 7-Eleven grabbing a Slurpee for Pete's sake, and comes back, and next thing you know, oh geez, it's 10-8 going to Pyramid Builder.
Damn. Damn. How do you feel about Loco
As for
Makoto?
Phantom Jack and Loco Makoto, after the wonderful analysis I've got from Chad and everybody else here, you know, Loco Makoto, he believes that he's got what it takes to take down the ice cold killer that is Phantom Jack. But Phantom Jack, once again, I don't think I've ever seen this kid tilt in my life. Never once. He can't. He's untiltable. If he's able to get into Phantom Jack's head, it's still going to be close, but overall, I think it's going to go to Phantom Jack. Maybe 10-7, 10-5 if Phantom Jack's really on his game.
10-5.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think, Tato, about the Phantom Jack, Loco Makoto?
I kind of am vibing with, you know, both of them. I think that there's some weirdness to Eliza, but I truly believe that Phantom Jack can adapt, can come through, figure out the nonsense that's going on, and you know, make the adaptation to play the matchup the way it needs. Figure it out. You're gonna have to do that on the fly, right? Because with a character like Eliza, you can't just play normal tech. You really got to see what the hell are they doing? And but I think Phantom Jack can do it.
All right. Well, only time will tell. We got probably by the time this is posted later today, everybody's gonna see how it happens later today or later tomorrow.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's gonna be a good one.
Hell yeah.
And with that, I think that'll conclude our predictions here. And now all we can do is wait and see. Maybe we're all wrong. We can't all be wrong. You know, it's 2 for 2. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Whoever loses the most buys the next rounds at the next POB.
Oh yeah, I'm down with that.
Love it.
I'm down.
All right. And with that, we'll be signing off. This has been me, Weasel, joined by Tato FGC, Hamelak Games, and Just Frame Hot Pocket himself. I will see everybody later.